has started exploring oil offshore, and that 200 miles offshore, the oil should not be called the South-South oil, because it's not within the South-South region, but it's 200 miles. Now, for the sake of our viewers, there are different laws on international law of the sea limit, and it started a long time ago. 3-mile limit. They call it 3 nautical miles, 9 nautical miles, 12 nautical miles. And after a while, China said, we're trying to develop, we will take 200 nautical miles. As of today, many developing countries are taking 200 nautical miles so that they could enjoy the agriculture, that is the fish, the oil, and whatever that is in there. At the moment, Nigeria is benefiting from offshore oil, and the northern states are saying that, look, you cannot call that your oil. It's the oil for the Commonwealth, and it should be so distributed, unlike you getting 13% ahead of us. You are from Rivers, and I know for that reason. Do you agree with the argument of the South-South states that say, look, you can never tell of the punishment we get from environmental degradation, and you're not going to recompensate us with 13% derivation? So what's your I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Oh, no. You know, this is what happens where we call ourselves a federalism, but we lack operating as a federal state. Okay. We are not operating as federal states as we ought to. And therefore, we have a situation where everybody is sitting down and waiting for the hand-me-down that comes from this central pot. And because we're waiting for this hand-me-down that comes from this central pot, we have a right to fight over it. We believe we should be fighting over it, whether we're benefiting the people or not, whether we're doing what we're supposed to do with it or not. No, we're just going to fight over it for selfish reasons and for selfish intentions. And it's unfortunate. And I am disappointed that the governor of the central bank has thrown himself into this ring, because I don't believe that this is something he should get involved in. I think he should stay out of this and allow those who are within as governors to discuss the issue. On the other hand, I welcome it, because I think that, you know, perhaps, just maybe, it woulda, coulda, shoulda change things for the way that it is, and we will all be able to have a proper debate and be able to really put
that's the position. Boundaries. That's the position of some South-South that that should be. This should lead us into a proper discussion.
Because bear with me, sir. In the north, we have vast land space in the north, just sitting idle as deserts, as you name it. Today we live in a world where we are creating cities on rivers. Yeah. So tell me why we can't develop agricultural developments and things within the north that will bring money. Like we've spoken earlier about the fact in the days of the cocoa and in the days of the granules and all of that, they wanted 50%. What's the difference now? I do accept that 200 nautical miles into the sea, it belongs to Nigeria as a whole. But then this should be divided up for Nigeria as a whole. I don't believe that we now need to fight specifically for a specific region to have a specific amount more. Or equate it, leave things the way they are and add that to it. That is an extra to what was there before. Is
200 nautical miles, the arguments of the South-South leaders and the articles and the argument of the northern leaders, what's your position?
Either way, there will always be a contention on this one, whether 200 nautical miles. The key issue is about the ownership. If you look at the way the oil is being owned, there's oil in Texas, United States. The question about the property right. Who owns the right to the oil? If it is the state that owns the property right to the oil, then they can take the oil and then bring the money that generated from it into the national pot. Is it owned for the Commonwealth? That is the key issue here. And I think we need to move even the debate further than that. I think what most of all these politicians and the governor of the central bank are trying to do is to cloud our judgment and thinking in terms of the derivation. The issue in Nigeria today is not about where you derive the money or how much you get. It's how you spend the money wisely. That is the key issue. For me personally, I think we need to move on from that one.
No. You see, wait a minute. Derivation becomes something important when you think in terms of how the environmental degradation had come in. For instance, we understand that it will take twice the amount to tar a road in the north in South-South because of the kind of soil. Therefore, if you want to build a house or you want to tie a road in South-South, it will take twice the money because of the texture of the soil.
Yeah, but currently, I mean, sorry to interject, currently I think it appears that the South-South are getting a margin over what other constituent elements of the Nigerian are taking.
Absolutely.
I mean, whatever that percentage, whether 5% over and above or what they call it 13%, they're getting that margin over and above other states. The question is, what are they really using this money for? I mean, for me, we need to shift the focus of the argument. Because if we shift the focus of the argument, it now impinges on the people to begin to ask the real questions.
You see, the governors don't want to shift the focus of the argument because the governors are thinking, you are a River State governor, you make more money into your pocket. I'm governor in Niger State, I don't make such money.
What the panelist here said, the last time she was here, she said about the media. You see, one of the role of the media is to think about where the debate should be.
Who owns the media?
Well, I mean, that is what we are
wait a minute. Tinubu has his own paper. Gbenga Daniel has his own paper. Guardian comes from South. In fact, that's the argument. Listen. You've not. In fact, Tunde, you just called something. Listen to something. Listen to this report. This is the latest report from ACF. Agitation for a review of the revenue formula by Northern elite has been welcomed as an opportunity for a review of the fiscal terms of the nation's federalism. The majority leader of the Senate and leader of the Senate South-South Caucus, Senator Victor Ndoma Egba, has said. His assertion, nonetheless, the Arewa Consultative Forum said yesterday that it will press for a review of the present revenue sharing formula on the basis of what it claimed was the increasing financial disparity between the North and the South. The northern body asserted that Niger Delta states have lost their leverage on oil revenue, given the fact that 78% of the nation's oil revenues were now obtained offshore. The assertion was, however, flayed yesterday by South-South and prominent leaders, many of whom welcomed the renewed debate on the revenue formula as an opportunity to redress what they claim as the inadequacy of funds to the oil region. Now, the point I want to try to make is that they are saying that majority of the banks in Nigeria come from South-South. Majority of the media come from South-South. That's the argument of Arewa Consultative Forum. And they are saying, why should that be? Because that they are getting money from, whether correctly, legitimately or illegitimately, they're getting this money from the Nigerian economic system. And therefore, they are in a position to rule and control Nigeria. And so today, your argument is being flawed by the Arewa Consultative Forum. Why is it that majority of the media you think will turn things around are from South-South, and majority of the banks are from South, owners of the banks are from South-South?
When I was growing up, the media distributions in Nigeria was nearly even. In the north, you have the northern newspaper. I mean, there are so many of them. In the South-South, you have some newspaper comments and all sort of things. In the Southwest, you only have maybe the Daily Times was a national newspaper. You have Tribune, which is more or less, in Ibadan. And then you have some sketch in Ibadan as well. Until the Abiola, introduced Concord and private ownership of newspaper in Nigeria with the introduction of the Guardian and then the Punch, which I have to declare an interest I work for. Well, it doesn't really make much difference. Each of the region each of the region or each of the elements can make itself to be competitive. If you look at, what is the vision for the Southwest? What is the vision for Ogun State? What is even the vision of Abeokuta itself as a city? I think the issue is projecting itself as a global city.
One quick statement.
The issue will be for the president to sit down and look at his transformation agenda and look at what all these agitations are going to be.
I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think these agitations may lead to a sovereign national conference where if 50% is given, then to derivation? Because some people are seriously calling for 50%.
I think the whole thing is going to lead to an undermining of the legitimacy and the confidence in the National Assembly. Because the National Assembly should sit down and look at this whole issue and come up with a statement based on what the Constitution says within this context. And if the National Assembly fails to do their job in the proper context of it, because this is politics.
But
this is politics that they are playing.
The National Assembly is handicapped because the Central Bank of Nigeria has refused to bring its annual budget to the National Assembly after several demands. They've never done so in their lives. listen. They've never done so in their life. NNPC has never brought his budget before, but for the first time, NNPC brought his own. But the central bank, about a week ago, said, we can only tell you about how much, but they did not bring the. That's the kind of central bank.
I think the fact is that people should begin to understand the kind of person that Sule Lamido is.
Is it just
Sule Lamido is playing politics. He's pretending to be a technocrat.
His name is Sanusi Lamido.
Sanusi Lamido. He's pretending to be a technocrat, but he's a crafty politician. And he's playing serious politics with CBN and his position. And people don't understand that.
But CBN
the fact remains that in the way he's going, if the leaders of the Nigerian political institutions do not take care with the way he's going, he's going to take the Nigerian financial institutions.
Somebody called the CBN, he says, is no longer Central Bank of Nigeria, but Charity Bank of Nigeria. On that note, we're going on break, and when we come back, we'll be telling you the latest on James Ibori and all the things that are going on. EFCC have said that they're going to charge Ibori again when he returns to Nigeria. How much can a man get on a lifetime? When we'll be back, you will be asking your questions. We'll make the telephone open. You don't go away while I go away, because you decide. Welcome back to You Decide. We give you facts and information and analysis, and then you decide the way Nigeria should go. We have been looking at the issues of the northern governors versus south-south governors, and there are many things to say in the days ahead. Many of you will recall that James Ibori has been on trial in England, and here we have got some latest things on him. You'll also recall that he told the court here in England, I stole 37.5 billion naira. He pleaded guilty. And listen to the report. It says, this is what the court judge said about Ibori. Ibori was never the legitimate governor, and there was effectively a thief in government house. Former governor of Delta State, who is standing trial in the United Kingdom, Chief James Ibori, has pleaded guilty in a UK court to a 10-count charge of laundering $250 million, that's 7.5 billion naira, and conspiracy to defraud. Ibori, according to report, changed his plea to guilty and admitted stealing money from Delta State and laundering it in London through a number of offshore companies, as the trial at London Southwark Crown Court was about to begin on Monday. Now, many of you know the rest of the story. Ibori was caught with millions of dollars in his house, as you can see, and from a room in his house, the millions of dollars and pound sterling, and these were reflected in what the judge said, a person, a thief in the government house. How do you feel as a Nigerian living in UK when the British judiciary is castigating an ex-governor?
I think this is what happens. You know, it's a pity because we've had to employ somebody else to do the job for us. It's a fine example on one point. On one hand, that a man who. I've never seen so much money. I've never seen so much money, even in the bank. I've never seen so much money being hauled in a room before. And this is the mentality of the man, hold all this money in the room, not understanding that we need it to circulate in order for it to benefit our, anyway, we won't go there. But it's good that, finally he has been brought to book and he's going to serve time.
Look at all of us as thieves?
I don't believe they look at all of us as thieves. Unfortunately, Nigeria has gained the damning reputation of being called 419ers. But I don't believe that they look at us all as thieves, because they themselves are not completely clean. But one thing that does happen here is that justice does prevail. Maybe not every day, but it does prevail. You know that it will happen. But, you know, so in this situation, bear with me a second. I'm disappointed. EFCC are now saying that when he comes home, I mean, this is embarrassing. This is what they were supposed to have done in the first instance.
They did it, but the judge cleared it.
Yeah, what kind of charges did they place on him? Paper pin charges yet again? And then, of course, he couldn't be found guilty. And now somebody else has been able to find him guilty of what they should have done.
Yes, Tunde, my fear is the new generation. Have we been able to inoculate them with corruption disease? For instance, Ibori was found to be a thief before he left for Nigerian politics. He had been tried here in England twice and found guilty of stealing, once at Weeks, and now another time he defrauded. So it's been in his gene to steal, and now he went back to politics, and like the British court said, a thief in the government house. Do you not think we have in many younger generation of Nigerian people, we have potential thieves in government house?
I mean, going back to what was discussed at the last segment in terms of the dream of the patriots, if we look at the so-called patriots, or those that we had in 90s, people like Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Tafawa Balewa, they hold certain values when they held public trust, when they held public office. You hold public office in trust for all the people. I mean, if you go back to the mainstream of classical philosophy, that is what the essence of the state is. What individual cannot do, is certain people called the elected government hold in sacred trust for them to do something. Unfortunately, most of the Nigerian politicians have failed us. And sadly, they are not living a sort of the legacy that would call them of a man of honor and integrity. The idea of service has been expunged from the Nigerian political lexicography. Now, those are the fundamentals that we need to go back into. Sadly enough, it's even the British government that tried this man. Now, when he went back to Nigeria to contest for election, at least he should have been properly vetted.
He gave a wrong date of birth.
He should have given a wrong date of birth.
He had a new passport, which changed according to the report.
It is the responsibility of the people organizing those elections to get to the actual truth of it. You see, those are the little things we need to get right from. If he has been gotten right.
Today, I'm sorry, there are many governors in Nigeria today whose West African school certificates are in doubt, and their university degree have been in doubt. I mean, those who have gone to courts like Tinubu, like Suswam, I mean, we can continue counting where their certificates are in, and people are saying it openly. No, these are not mine.
How then do you expect someone that has a doubted certificate now occupying the state of now be honorable to what he holds, to what he's sworn in, to hold in sacred trust for the people? So in other words, you get what you deserve. People are putting people in place whereby these are rogues. I think this guy has been convicted in London before he went to
as a criminal, and he held a criminal record.
Nigerian constitutions allow a criminal to hold office,
but he manipulated.
It doesn't matter where he holds it from.
He has the right to do whatever he wants to do to manipulate. It is the job of the authority to determine the truth behind his identity.
I think how do we get a patriot in Nigeria at this rate?
A patriot. Who can say he's a patriot?
You have to read that book again.
Who can say he's a patriot? You see, the fact remains that we even have presidents and governors, senators and members of the House of Rep, and members of the state assemblies that cannot even read or recite the national anthem, or as our lady said, the Nigerian anthem, who cannot even recite the pledge. Even to swear to an oath, they are forced to read the letter that are written on the paper to swear to an oath of office.
But that has been changed now because the new constitution says you must have at least school cert before you become a governor.
School cert. So some of them don't even have.
But they have even watered that one down by the law. You can
get. What I'm going about Ibori's issue is that it's a big disappointment to the diasporans. Tinubu did his own, and they maneuvered it. He said he was schooled in Minnesota or schooled in
no, his own was based on state university rather than federal university, but we cannot. The same thing happened to Alison Madueke too. We cannot show the year she entered the
quantify these people.
Well, that's the kind of thing we get.
So, but now the British government is making it clear to us that 85% of those who rule us are endemic criminals. Endemic criminals. They are criminals. They are people who have
and do you know
who have criminality
do you know
running in their vein, running in their blood.
The British and American governments know this thing into detail. Do you know that?
You see the problem.
Look at Hillary Clinton coming to Nigeria.
Doctor, the truth you have to understand is that the British government uses individuals to satisfy their aim.
Yeah, they too have their own interest.
The moment you don't play to their game, they come against you.
Okay,
hold on. I need to stop you here. I need to stop you here. I don't dispute that our people they have criminality in their blood, or that they practice criminality, I should say. They practice criminality. But it doesn't only happen in Nigeria. They also practice criminality here. But it's just that justice prevails. There is rule of law. Recently, we've had several MPs that are now in prison.
Yeah.
We're seeing it more and more today.
Yeah.
We have come to learn in the UK here that when they claim for their expenses, some are claiming to watch people dance on tables for them. Some are claiming money to
watch pornography.
For gardening. We are now learning what they're doing. But
But they're going to jail for £5,000, £250.
This is what I'm saying, that the rule of law prevails.
Yeah.
There is something that will put a barrier that says, hey, you cannot get away with this. You cannot do this.
Okay, I'm going to
what I want to say is about the diaspora.
Excuse me. No. Good morning. Who is calling? Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, your name, where you calling from?
Yeah. My name is Danny. I'm calling from South Africa.
Okay, go ahead. What do you say to this Ibori issue?
Right. I think, as Nigerians, sometimes we've got to come off our high horse of pride, stop living in self-denial, and talk the truth about ourselves. I know it's difficult for us as Africans to accept the truth about ourselves. Now the panelists are saying, oh, these same things happen in England, they do this, they do that. But I think there's one thing you're forgetting with all your education. That in every human society, there will always be some form of corruption. But the most important thing is the degree of corruption that creates a problem. Now, the panelists are talking about MPs doing this, doing that. Let the panelists mention one MP who stole 250 million pounds. Now, the panelists, with all the education, will have nothing. Here is 5,000 here and there, 20,000 here and there, 60,000 here and there. But this is our own brother Nigerians taking 250 million. What are you talking about?
Okay, the panelists, if I may, hold on a minute. The panelists, if I may correct you, are saying that if you are caught with £5 here, you will face the law, and which doesn't happen in Nigeria. That's the core of the message of the panelists here.
Exactly. I mean,
so did you get that one right?
He was set free by the
Yeah.
FCC in Nigeria.
Yeah.
It tells you how corrupt we are. Yes. It looks like almost all of us. I'm not going to make any exception. Now, the problem is that people with people doctoring their GCSE,
Yeah.
O-levels in Nigeria. We are all witnesses in this case of 4 or 5 years ago when some bishops in one of the TV stations went up to Scotland. We saw them wearing the athletic boots with PhDs. You are all aware. You know them. That was 4 or 5 years ago. You know their names. You know the only good mention names because that's what did you say?
All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to stop you there because we want more calls. Thank you very much for calling. We want more calls on this issue, and we really want to hear your view. How proud were you when Ibori said he's a thief. And good morning, who is calling? Hello?
Good morning.
Yeah, your name, where are you calling from?
I'm calling, my name is Akele. I'm calling from Swiss Cottage, London.
Okay, from Swiss Cottage. What's your take on this?
We're very happy things like this, especially with the situation of our leaders outside the shore of our country. And this is a testimony that people like Bankole and many other people who are really lost, that the British government has just declared that Nigerians are being ruled by thieves in the government house.
How do you think...
So now it will bring the issue like Bankole and his brother, his three brothers, is really better state now to do that.
Okay, thank you very much for calling. Time is just not on our side. Can I get one sentence from you each on these? How do you think we can move forward in Nigeria without the average teenager, 20-something in Nigeria, not thinking that when I get there, I will steal? Where do we start from? One statement each.
That is a very big question, $60 million question for Nigerians.
Yeah.
The developed world can more or less is solving that problem.
Yeah.
I think it's the issue of accountability and facing the consequences of your action. Okay. Now, if we cannot do it, we now find out that the British government or the Americans or whoever can help us to do it.
Okay.
The media in Nigeria need to report this one back home.
Godson.
My take is that I think that our next generation leader should begin to see politics as an act of service. Service to humanity,
and not
service
to
growth of the society, service to the development of human entity, not a means of living and wealth accumulation.
Priscilla, yes.
Simple. We need to go back to education, the right kind of education, because it is only when we begin to educate the masses about what integrity is, about what service is, about what governance is, about what accountability is, and we begin to teach our children from that 4 or 5 years old that we're going to have a different generation. But until then, we're going to continue with this.
We really have to do a lot of education and show accountability to these guys of people. We're going to end today on a special story from Ijebu land in Ogun State. 78-year-old Awujale of Ijebu land, Oba Sikiru Adetono, has gone back to school. According to him, he desires to make history as the nation's oldest monarch to bag a degree in law while still on the throne. Adetono on Saturday joined 201 other new law students of the National Open University of Nigeria for their matriculation at Awai Ijebu. Though he was admitted alongside 27 of his traditional rulers, the latter decided to defer their admission for a year. Some of them are big and small, medium obas. Now, according to them, they took the decision to allow their paramount ruler be a year ahead of them, and as a sign of honor to the monarch. Well, we can't really discuss the nitty-gritty of this, but you can imagine who is the lecturer that is going to mark Oba Adetono, 78. Who is who?
I salute him. I salute him.
And those who will be in his class every day, they will be prostrating every time.
But they should treat him with respect.
Well, today is February 29th. This is the day that someone is going to make a call and they're going to propose to her own dear husband-to-be. Well, for 2 hours, nobody has called in to propose. Well, whether we've left or not, you can still propose to that man. They expect women to propose to men today. What are you girls waiting for? Until next week, my name is still Segun Johnson. The program is You Decide.